This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar and training session around Sage HRMS Secure Query. Looking to continue our series and show everyone out there a little bit more about some of the components of Sage HRMS we find to be both helpful and underutilized. So we appreciate you sharing the time today and hope you learn a little bit more about your options for reporting and data analysis. My name is Nathan Triplett. I'm on the left here. I'm our sales director for HCM. Jeff Olson is assistant sales director for HCM. And we're both going to be taking you through a little bit of background today around Sage HRMS and the different reporting options. And then Jeff's going to be taking you into the mechanics of building a secure query and hopefully giving you folks some information that will be helpful as you return back to your days. So with these webinar series, I always like to highlight as many people who use Sage HRMS only use a smaller footprint within the system, just HR, just payroll, that it is a fully functioning end-to-end, cradle to grave, so to speak, HRIS system. So everything from recruiting to onboarding to performance to comp and learning and payroll and exit management and compliance. We have all of those components available. So if you're struggling to do something or you find yourself saying, I wish my system did this, odds are that either with the functionality that you have or with things that are available from Sage, those are challenges that can be solved. But today, we're really going to focus on secure query and extracting data. And one of the concepts that we often talk about is a single source of truth for HR information. Often when we're doing consults, we find folks have data in spreadsheets and on paper, on sticky notes, on filing folders and cabinets, some in some systems, some in payroll, maybe a third-party training system. And we like to talk about how we can bring all of that data together. So many of you on the call right now already have the core system, so you have all this data, right? You've got it all in the system. It's all here. Congratulations. And now what do we do with it? Because there's really two important pieces for me. One is how we get data in, and two is how we get data out. So when we think about our data extraction options, I think most of you are probably familiar with Crystal, right? And we've got some standard reports within the system. Crystal's really good for template-based reports. So I have, a total compensation statement on here, something that's going to be formatted, that has your company logo on it, kind of a static layout that's going to be produced over and over again. Maybe it's got some calculations built within there. Your payroll reports are good ones for Crystal. Anything else along those lines for data analysis, your registers. Good opportunity to use Crystal reports. A little bit complicated, but a very powerful tool at the end of the day. Another way to get data out of the system, and some of you are using this, is the alerts and workflow tool. So we like to think of the alerting tool as the smoke alarm for the business. So if we're running reports that have pages of information just to look for one or two exceptions, oftentimes that type of analysis can be done with an alert. So instead of you searching for the exception searches for you, and either via text message or an email is going to come across and let you know that's happening. Other things that we see this used for is, birthdays, anniversaries, training coming due. So when we have to push things out, a nice way to be able to not only be notified of something, but avoid having to be the one who is doing the notification and just allow the system to manage those communications to employees and managers and executives as appropriate. There's a new solution on the marketplace called Employee Analytics. And basically, you can think of this as a web version of the standard Sage HRMS reports. So the ability to have a different interface, it's not Crystal-based, it's more like what we're going to show you with Secure Query in terms of building these that can be accessed over the web and easily manipulated. Is a nice tool that could be helpful for some folks to consider. Certainly easier to use than Crystal, but not quite as powerful as Crystal, as we can't do everything that we could in terms of merging databases and data tables and things along those lines. So you have any interest in web-based reporting within Sage HRMS, let us know. And then, of course, for knowing we have a SQL backend with Sage HRMS, we do see some people using SSRS or SQL reporting services to be able to extract data, especially if you have an IT team that is heavily involved. But really today, what we want to focus on is a tool that is native to the core of HR and that's been rolled out to payroll. It's called Secure Query, and it's a really, really easy way for you to be able to extract and save views of data, both for yourself and for other people, to be able to get those quick analysis. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jeff. He's going to walk us through the steps of building a query and hopefully give you guys some good information along the way. So, Jeff, I am going to switch controls to you.
Thank you,
And
Nathan.
you should have those.
And everyone should be seeing my Sage HRMS environment.
Yep, looks great.
Awesome. So we want you to be more effective and more capable of extracting data from Sage HRMS. And we find that many of our clients really underutilize this function called query. Query allows you to capture and report, print, or export data from any screen in Sage HRMS. So if we were to look at an employee's screens, any field that you see within here, within an employee record, can be captured and exported or printed using query. Now let's suppose that you have an executive that says, hey, I need to see by department all the employees listed with their unit pay rate and their annual salary amount. So you go in and you say, okay, I'm going to use Secure Query to do this. The first thing you see in Secure Query is a list manager. This lists all the queries that you have previously created and saved. They can be rerun over and over again. So once you save them, they're there. So they can be used again and again. When we create a new query, we select new and we give it a name. So we're going to say employee pay by department. And just fix my spelling there. And I can either make this public, which means that anybody who has a user login to Sage HRMS can view this and use it, or I can make it private, which means that I am the only person. The person that created the query is the person that can run the query. I'm going to go ahead and make this public. The first thing I have to do when I create my query is decide what data I want to include in the query. So I know I want to include demographic information, which is the information you'll see on the demographic screen in an employee record in Sage HRMS. I also want to include current pay and current job information. Now you can also include any other data and link to that data for a query. And any of the screens that you see here can be linked to, including custom details, and reported on through query. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next step. And now I pick the fields that I want in my query. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to select the employee name. I'm going to go last name, first name, middle initial. I'm going to select the department. I'm going to go by description. I can also include the department code. I'm going to select the employee's annual pay, and I'm going to select the unit rate. So I'm going to go down here and select unit pay rate. Once I've selected the fields I want in my query, I can move them around. I can move the order. I'm going to make department first, and I'm going to make unit pay third, and so department name, unit rate, and employee annual pay. In addition to selecting the fields, I next can group my records. So I'm going to group my records by department. And if I wanted to count or sum those records, I can do that here. And I can also select my sort order. So I'm going to select my sort order as department and name. So alphabetically within department, I'm going to see the list of employees. The fourth step is to determine what records I want to include. I don't want to include terminated. I only want to include active on my list. So I'm going to set my record filter to employee status matches A for active. Now I have a drop down here. I could select terminated or not employee or active. And I click OK here. And if I wanted any other queries, filters, I can add them here. We're going to just do active today. Once I've selected my fields, grouped my records, sorted my records, and put my filter in, I can view the data. I can go down here and select View Data, and you can see that the departments and the names are sorted as we selected. We've got unit pay rate, employee annual pay, which is exactly what we were looking for. Now we can decide how we want to output this. I can print the output just to a printer, and I can select whether I want it in portrait or landscape. I can also select whether I want to send it out to a text file. And this may be useful if you're integrating data with another system. Most common is sending it out to an Excel spreadsheet. So when I select Excel spreadsheet and I give this file a name, I'm going to call it employee pay by department. Let's do this. And run the query. It then goes out and creates the file, the Excel file, and asks me if I want to view it. I'll select yes. Excel will open up, and there's my data. Quick, easy, and simple. And then I can do with it whatever I want. I can sort it, I can filter it, I can do whatever Excel functions I want to it once it's out here. And I can send it to the executive who was asking for this information. So again, a very underutilized function within Sage HRMS. And you can run queries on HR data, payroll data, attendance data, training data. If you have the Canadian company information in here, you could do Canadian payroll information as well. So a very useful tool. We encourage you all to spend some time learning this and utilizing this. And I'll turn the time back over to Nathan.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Let me share my screen here so we'll give some opportunity for questions if you all have some. I've got a couple more slides to share. So obviously, this is a pretty easy function, but at the same time, as Jeff mentioned, if you just want us to walk through one or two of those with you to help, please let us know. Some other ways that we can help, just to make sure there's an awareness here. We can do a technology assessment. And so if you're looking at your Sage HRMS system, it's been in place for 10 or 15 or 20 years. Obviously, some things have changed within the software since then, and probably your business as well. So one of the things that we offer for free for all of our customers, at least once a year, is to go through and understand what's working, what's not working, any challenges within the system, and then just provide some suggestions, whether it's additional training, whether it's some functions like secure query that you could be utilizing better, whether it's another module that could provide value to the business. Know that that's a free assessment that we offer. We also do offer solution assessments, so we're a provider of not only Sage HRMS, but on Kronos and ADP. And so we do have other options, especially if you're looking to outsource your payroll function. Know that we can help there and play a role within the evaluation of some different technologies, if that's right for your business. And then if we need to do customizations, if there's something truly unique to your business, we have those resources as well. So we encourage you to reach out to us. So we've got our global distribution for our HR, HCM team here at HR Help at SWK Tech. Looking through the questions, I don't see that anything has come in. So I think we'll let you folks get on with your day. Again, anything at all that you need, any suggestions for future sessions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we appreciate you sharing some time with us this afternoon. Thanks all. Have a great day.